start the July the 19th meeting. We'll have the invocation by Pastor Tower, Keith, Mr. Keith, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Firstner, Commissioner Firstner, and I'll do the invocation. Oh, no, he's doing the invocation. That's great. Let's stand, please. Yep.
Please stand for a word of prayer. My name is Keith Tower. I'm the senior pastor of High Point Church here in Ocoee and one of the chaplains for the Ocoee Police Department. Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to pray. Father, we thank you first and foremost for a great city to live in. Jesus, we thank you that you're doing an amazing work here in our city, even before our very eyes. God, we see the transformation that's happening all around us, and for that we're grateful. We thank you that your peace and your grace and your goodness rest upon our city. Father, we thank you for the leaders that you've appointed, because you say, God, in your word that you exalt and you put down, and every authority is placed here by you. So we thank you for our mayor. We thank you for our commissioners. We thank you for all the staff that work so hard, Father, to make this a great place to live. Father, we thank you even for the proceedings tonight. We invite you, by the presence of your Spirit, to be in this room, to lead, guide, and direct the affairs of our city, that we would be better together in the future than even we are right now. We love you, we bless you, and we invoke the name of Jesus over these proceedings. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brenson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
Presentations and proclamations. I have a form here for Cassandra Wormack from the Office of Scott Randolph, Orange County Tax Collector. Come on down.
Good evening, Mayor, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and the commissioners. It's been a long time since I've been here, so glad to be back. Just had a couple of announcements from the Office of Orange County Tax Collector Scott Randolph. Hope that you all have had the opportunity to come down and visit our Ocoee office. We are fully automated, so if you haven't experienced that, definitely encourage you all to come down and always make an appointment, because we are an appointment-only office. But wanted to just let you all know that business tax receipts have been put in the mail, and renewals are going to be payable on our website. And also, if you all have any international visitors, we actually used to have to go through a lot of rigmarole to actually get a handicap sticker if you were coming from out of a country. And now they're recognizing, I know we've all seen it, where you see the blue background with the wheelchair in the middle. If you have that in your country and you're bringing that over, and as long as you have that hung in your window, that's going to actually be recognized in the state of Florida now. So we have gotten rid of that. So if you all have any, like if you have an exchange student or anyone that's coming from an international country, they've actually changed that law that will recognize that sticker. So just wanted to give you all those couple of announcements. So thank you all for the opportunity to speak. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's really nice having that out there close.
It is. I'm sorry.
It's nice to have that facility out there. It's close.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Staff reports.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
All right, what we're gonna do now, we'll go ahead and bring the issue up. I've got some forms here. We're gonna have the, under public comments, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Lomont, Brad, and Mr. Carr. Come on up. Jennifer, you wanna come up also? Just
Good evening, Brad Lomneck, HRDP Board. I have Scott Kennedy with me also on the HRDP Board, and Jay Carr. And then we have Jennifer Yons from the Jennifer Yon Agency. We've, in the HRDP Board, we've been trying to put together, the HRDP subcommittee put together the Ocoee Remembrance event for this year. And we've gone back, and the subcommittee members have worked a a great job to get the prices lowered on this event so we can bring it back forth in front of the commission. We did, however, I want to bring some things up that happened. We did decide to keep the $10,000 that was allocated for the Unity Monument as the $10,000 for that Unity Monument. So the HRDB board recommended not to move that money. So Scott and Jay are going to bring a proposal in front of you tonight for the new funds, and I would like to thank the mayor for working with Mrs. Yon for coming up with some new and exciting proposals to get this down to where it fits a budget. So we have $7,000 right now in our budget now, and we're going to need, I believe, $10,000 to make the $17,000 deposit, and I'll let Jay and Scott fill you in on the rest. So,
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jay Carter, Subcommittee Chair for the Human Relations and Diversity Board, Ocoee members. And from my understanding, and I'm coming to give an update, the $7,000, as was told to me by Doug Gaines, is not available until after October 1. So we didn't know that. Doug on the last HRDB meeting, Doug Gaines let me know that the $7,000 is not available until after October 1. And the proposal that you have in front of you is asking for $17,000 to get this started. The total cost is $30,200. We have updated and reduced and got rid of the golf tournament, got rid of the 5K run and other fun raises. Moved it down from 4 days to 2 days, as instructed by the commission. As far as what we need now, as far as the promotion company needs, is the $17,000 to move forward. As he said, the board voted to retain the $10,000 that's available to go to a statue to be determined. We're going to have some discussions at the Descendants Dinner on November the 5th. Right. Right. Okay. As I said, the board voted to move it. So, in a nutshell, if you have any questions, we can answer them. And at the end of the day, the promoter needs the $17,000 to move forward.
All right. Scott, do you have any comments?
I do.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you. It's all right. I'm Scott Kennedy. I'm also on the HRDB. And as you may recall, I spoke at the last City Commission meeting. And at that time, we were looking at a request for roughly $125,000, I think, 120. And as I said, I really didn't believe that the HRDB had the leadership and the will to get that project complete. I didn't think that plane was going to fly. At the HRDB meeting, we were very excited when Jay showed up with this new agenda, paring the program down to $30,000. And as was mentioned, there's a little bit of confusion. We clarified our terminology. There's a proposal for a sculpture, there's a proposal for a statue, and there's a proposal for a monument that we are looking at all three in various stages. Per the ruling, the vote that you had, which was barring an objection by the HRDB, you wanted to reallocate the funds. The HRB did object to that, and we want to use those funds for our monument, what we're calling the Unity Park Monument. But we do have a consensus. It was unanimous. Everybody is really excited and supports this plan. And so we're here tonight to ask you, we know it's a big ask, to find contingency funds, any discretionary funds that commissioners have available, to help us get the deposits for this prior to the start of the new fiscal year, and that's what we're here for. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I think the main thing is getting getting money needed for the deposits are important, right? So what we would ask is, we have the 7,000, we know that's gonna come already, first of the fiscal year. We'd ask for an additional 10,000 to come out of discretionary. That way, when Mrs. Yon, when she needs to hire a vendor, she can come to the city and ask for that dollar amount to hire that vendor with an invoice, what have you. And then after the event, or at this time, the city would pay the additional amounts to get up to that 30,000, and we would be able to reconcile at the end of the event, because I believe Ms. Young's working on some sponsorship packets as well to help offset some of those costs. So I think as a board, we think this is a great project, and I know the city commission has also said this is a great project. If you guys have voted before to have this, we just need to get the money straight, and I think that's what we're here to do tonight. Jennifer, did you want to say anything?
Hello, Jennifer Yon Agency. So one of the things that I do want to say is working with all of the vendors and being maxed at this deadline is going to be a little bit more work of each vendor along the step, submitting invoices. How I did it last year was I did what I think I've already submitted, the full breakdown and what that is for. All of the vendors that within our agency that we work with, they are under our umbrella. So we are really behind time from last year to this year in pulling off a successful event. My question is, how much longer are we going to be able to, how much longer do we have before I'm able to start working? Because the rates that's built into that package, as each day passes by, I question as an event coordinator my ability to be able to do the job and that we need to fulfill it at the rate that I've quoted, because days are going farther and farther by. So on the event coordinating side, I look at the time that has been already put towards creating this event, creating sponsorships, material to be able to promote the event, a website to be able to gear sponsorships to. There's been a lot of time that's been invested since last year. So my point is it feels a little disheartening and frustrating that we're still in these stages, and there are people that are waiting for answers as to where they want to be able to be a part of this event, but a sponsorship packet hasn't been fully completed, because I also have questions on where funds that's raised will go that is raised through this time. So there is a big portion of the sponsorship packet as of now that still needs to be fulfilled. As far as when funds are brought in, where will those funds go? Will they go towards what other projects, what other events, the Unity Park? Sponsors want to know that before they sign on to sponsor an event.
Well, those funds should go back to the city to pay for
We'll make that comment to that question. To that question, I would say, we talked about it the last time about if we do the sponsorships, the sponsor money goes to cover part of that $30,000. The sponsorship money comes back. And if it's we have more than 30, then it goes into funds of the diversity board. So that's what the sponsorships can be used for. If we front the money for the 10,000, then the other 7,000 will be there. That budget starts in a couple weeks. So in October, that money will be there before the thing to go ahead and finish that 7,000 with it. But if we need to come up with the other part, I would ask that we do that. But first, let's start with that part. But if you get sponsorships, which you should, you mentioned to me that you have a couple lined up.
Yes,
So-
and I also think I mentioned that, you know, as the agency, we are providing tools, and it would be beneficial if the whole board and everyone that is on the commission plays a part in helping raise funds for this event.
Well, it don't always work that way. You said for everybody to help raise the funds?
Well, with this being a city event, I would,
Well, I know, but listen, I'm all for raising money, I do it, but nobody, the only ones that help raise the funds when we have the Ocoee Music Fest is not all the board. So that isn't how it works. But we
Well-
can help you, I promise you, I've told you before, and when I met with you, that I'm gonna help you raise money.
well, let me say that, be clear, this is not a Jennifer Yon agency event. I'm brought in as the coordinator. I'm helping provide tools to be able to fundraise, to coordinate a successful event. So if it's not the commission board, then I look to work with some of the committee members, because inside of the agency quote is not a quote for fundraising. But with my expertise and my passion for the city, I want to be able to lend a hand in that area.
Well, I still say that if you're gonna go out and get this, the diversity board is a function of the city. So if you raise the funds like we do for the other, it goes into the city, and the city puts that money out to the cost. And the cost goes, if it's more than 30, then it'll go in that diversity board's fund when we get through, you know? But, I mean, that's, I have no problem giving you the money for what we're talking about, the 10,000, and work on the other. But I just think that if you're gonna raise sponsorships, that's what we do the sponsorships for, is to help pay back to the city for what it's doing.
Yes, and just with my background, we can raise and we can put out sponsorship packets, but we cannot count on a definite check until that check has come in and has cleared.
Oh, we know
So,
that.
yes.
Yeah, I know. All right, we need to discuss it a little bit, and then we can see
Okay.
about the $10,000 and move from there. All right? Commissioners, Commissioner Britson. You want comments?
Well, I guess I have a question as the monument that the monument, statue, or sculpture that the HRDB is having the money, holding the money, the $10,000 for Unity Park?
Correct.
Okay, is that something, because I don't know if I've heard of that moving forward.
So there's been $10,000 that's been set aside for a monument for the last 2 cycles, I believe it is. So that.
2 budget cycles?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. So now, the HRDB has 2 distinct, did I say that right again? 2
Close enough.
distinct issues, right? There is a sculpture that is a larger cost, $150,000, and then, which is being worked with some other people, but there is we would like to put a memorial structure in Unity Park that will cost around $10,000. So the mayor's already talked about it. We've talked to Quality Vaults here in Ocoee that they could put a type monument structure together in Unity Park that would fit that $10,000 budget.
So that they can do that for $10,000?
Roughly, yes.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
Just for clarification, on the $10,000, last fiscal year, I asked for $10,000 for a statue that we assume would cost less than $10,000. The statue cost $26,000 or $28,000. So at that point, I knew nothing about the Unity Park venture. So the $10,000 that I asked for was for that statue. So that was last year for this fiscal year.
Okay, so, I want to make clear because you're asking the commission to approve $10,000 out of discretion, or out of
Consent.
contingency, yeah, out of contingency. And we have,
We got 25 to 30,000. We only got a couple of months to go.
And what the promotion company or event planner is needing is asking for the $17,000 now. Just to be clear.
Okay, so, because the $10,000 staying with the HRDB as opposed to $10,000 coming out of contingency is really a wash. I mean, that's semantics. It's still $10,000 no matter whether we give it to HRDB for one thing or give it to them for another thing. But the $7,000 is not this budget year, it's for next budget year.
Commissioner, I apologize. That's why last meeting, when this came up, and the thought of moving the $10,000 came up, the board's motion was to say if the HRDB voted to move it or not. And I believe one of the comments was if they had decided not to move that $10,000 to the event, then the HRDB board could come back up here in front of you and ask for that $10,000
Okay.
out of contingency on above and beyond what we have for the new statute for
Okay.
Unity Park.
So, just to be clear, $10,000, let's say the commission votes to take it out of contingency. $7,000, HRDB, do you need it now or do you need it October 1st? That's the question I have
It has
because,
to be October 1st. Well, go ahead.
no, if you have something, wait,
No,
by
I
all means, I don't know.
don't pay those bills. We do that through the same thing we do at the music fest. We don't pay those people full price till the end of the thing, of that day. Then we cut them the checks. You can pay a deposit, but you don't have to pay out all that money. So I was reading the amounts of money. It's only $1,950 for the total of money there on that top part, then $3,500 on the other for banners and stuff. But we had talked about this. It was $10,000 a night, and then we do the seven at first of October on that thing. Now, if the commission would go along with 17, I'd probably go along. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be clear
Yeah.
because.
We don't need to be here all night worrying about this, but I'm saying that the statute that they talking about is, last I heard it was $175,000. You're gonna have to raise money for that, but that's a lot of money.
Correct.
That's gonna come for another issue. Now, the other statute is the same way. The Unity thing, we talked about up here and talked about, we named it Unity Park.
Right.
And we're gonna put that with etched the names in it and all that stuff, so that's another thing. So, I just think we need to, if we can do the $10,000 tonight, and if you get some sponsors, there's money there too, to use it for it. So
Okay, well, let me ask you this way. If the commission approves the $10,000 for your use, so you can start generating checks for the vendors or whomever, is that something that you can work with?
What that does is just put more strain on the scheduling. And I've been involved since November of last year, since the last one started. So really the goal is to get this 17 and to be able to fundraise for the balance, to where I can move forward with the event in its full entirety.
All right. Any more, Commissioner?
No,
Wilson? Yeah.
I would agree for the 17, the 10 plus the 7.
Commissioner Wilson?
And as I'm reading this, I have questions, because what you're saying is 17, but if you add the total event total due is 30,200, okay? And you take away 17,000, that's deposit due payable to the Jennifer Young Agency. According to my math, there's $13,000 that's sitting there.
No.
Now, who's responsible for the 13,000? Because if go right down here, it says event total due, 30,200. Okay, then you take away 17,000 that we are supposedly possibly committing until we vote, which is 10,000 out of the contingency of this year, anticipating the 7,000 in next year's budget. Where is the other 13,000 coming from that is showing here at 30,200? Because if the city is committing, from the last conversation to tonight, if the city is committing 17,000 total to this event, total, That's, see, there's more to this than just 10,000 and 7,000. There's 13,000, if they taught me right in math.
Yes,
There's
Commissioner.
13,000 sitting out there that I want to know where it's coming from, because it's not in the budget.
Yes, Commissioner, so that's why when I first brought this up, I said if we could work on the 17 now, and then we would probably have to bring this up in budget workshops in August to help fund the 13,000 that's left over. And we're assuming by then we'll have some fundraising that has taken place, right, that should bring that number down. But we're gonna need the city to upfront the capital of the project, and then,
So you're saying this project is a $30,000 project, asking for 17 right now, okay? 7 from the proposed budget, 10,000 from contingency. I still want to know where the 13,000 is coming from, because I cannot,
Sponsors.
but I can't approve a budget depending on sponsors.
no, we're asking you to take the full hit of the $13,000, and then
That-
whatever can be brought in to offset it is what is brought in.
That's not what
to
I'm
offset
understanding here, is what I'm understanding here is the full hit is 17,000, not 30,000.
it. No, it's a $30,000 project.
Let's move back.
This
Can I speak to Ms. Boone? When you and I met, we talked about this. We didn't have any of this per Saturday, so Saturday night. So what you're doing is doubling up. You're doing the same thing Saturday you're doing Sunday. You got the same inspirational things, same motivational people. Why can they not do that Sunday? And then like you and I talked about, you have the dinner Saturday night. The dinner is, if it's $25 a person, even if you had 100 people, how much is that? That's $10,000. But if you only have 100 people, if you have 60 or 70, it comes out to less than $5,000.
Well,
We
8,000,
did it last year, or whenever we did the big one, it was total money was $15,000. But I'm saying, we didn't talk about that, Jennifer. We talked about doing it Saturday night, having that dinner where you bring all the people in, the dignitaries, and bring in the family members, the descendants. You have that dinner with gospel music. You told me about a guy, but we didn't have any of this. So you're taking 22.2 for Sunday from Saturday from 12 to 4 for 22,200, which we didn't talk about. And then you add another 7,000 down there, which makes it 29 or 30. So why would we not do the dinner Saturday night like we did before, and have the people come there and do the remembrance, and then do the motivational everything Sunday?
Well,
Then
that
you
will-
cut out all that money she's talking about.
well, what I'm saying is that will be something that would come, I'm thinking, from the commission, the HRDB. Because what I did is, right, well,
Comes to us.
the planning, I am just putting in proposal of what was asked with the descendants that has been reaching out. And this is where this program comes from. So I know 8,000 of that is for High Point Church, which kind of what we talked about, bring it around the budget that I am, managing that Saturday Day Festival, and High Point Church is doing the rest.
That's why I'm asking, why wouldn't we not just do the dinner and have the remembrance and all at the dinner? Remember, we talked about this, did
Yes.
we not?
Yes,
That's
we
what
did.
We talked about, and you said, yeah, that's great. So now we've added this other to the top. That's why I said with money, the 17,000 would cover everything without that.
Right. And the 17,000
You're
would
doubling
do
up,
that
because
without,
You got Sunday, you got remembrance worship, you're doing the read the names again, the inspirational program and all that stuff.
that's High
And-
Point Church. All of that is High Point
No,
Church,
they're-
and they,
They're at Sunday morning. I'm talking about 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock on Sunday. I'm talking about 6 to 8.
that's High Point Church,
That's High
and they are $8,000 out of this budget, which is the same thing that I think they were budgeted at last year. And again, I just
Well,
put,
we all worked together on it last time. I mean, it was like one thing.
all right.
Like I said, I don't have a problem. I could probably even stretch it to 17, but, I mean, I don't know, somewhere that money's gotta come from. You're gonna have to raise it with sponsors like we do. But I'm all for having this, but I just think you're overdoing it on Saturday. Have it Saturday night like we talked about.
Well, it wouldn't be me overdoing it, it would be what's been asked from the community. It wouldn't be me, I am just putting the agenda together on, okay.
Board members.
If I can say something.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problem with projecting the 7,000 from next year's
Yeah.
budget. I have no problem with the 10,000 for the contingency. But I have a problem with this $13,000 that I don't believe that was even talked about the last, we talked about when you initially gave $120-something thousand as a proposed budget for this event. Then it came down to 7,000 and 10,000, correct? If you could pull the 10,000 from the, if the board decided to pull the 10,000 from the Unity Monument, okay? And then the 7,000 for next year's budget, that was my assumption, was where it was going with 17,000. But now when I see an extra 13,000, I don't feel as though, I'm just not comfortable, because I think
Okay.
that was decided last
Can I-
time.
Can I make one more comment,
So I'll-
Commissioner Wilson?
Oh, please.
What I would like to ask commissioners and the city manager, if we take that $10,000 you already got sitting there and add that to the 10,000, then we, as a city, which I think that's our part, I think we could put that 10,000 out of our budget this coming year to build that Unity Park wall, and not use that $10,000 that's sitting there. We take that $10,000 with the $10,000 we offer out of that. So that gives you $20,000 to work with. So then, that way, we don't, and I, consent of everybody up here, if they would go along with it, we can have Rob find $10,000 in the budget. So that's our park we're building out there, and it's not gonna be ready for a long time. Long time the way it looks. So we can take that $10,000 out of our budget next year, figure a way to get it, and put that in, because we're gonna have some money in there we all get to put in on. So we put that $10,000 in that budget you got already, with the $10,000 we can give you tonight, and then we can give you $7,000 when the budget comes in October.
So that's 27,000.
That's $27,000. And if you can't raise $3,000 somewhere, there's trouble.
Well, just some clarification, the budget went from 126,000 down to 30,000. The 17,000 was just for the deposit portion that we were referring to. Okay. The last proposal said 126, this proposal is 30,000. So it went from there to here. And as far as combining the two events, it can't happen because the High Point Church event is a more solemn event, and the Unity Festival is a more fast-paced, upbeat event.
Fast-paced and upbeat.
Yes.
All right, well, here's the problem. You gotta get this,
Celebration of life.
well, there's a celebration of life is for everything, but you can do it the other way too. We did the celebration of that before. I want to help you, I want you to have it, but you're fighting the thing here, and I've just offered you $27,000. Take it. If we can vote,
I think that's a good deal.
then take it.
Yeah.
With Rod.
Well, I can't speak as the event planner.
We can do that. I just have a couple comments.
I'm an HRCB member.
I'm trying to get a consensus here. If you'll go along with what I said, let them take that $10,000 in that budget with the $10,000 we give them tonight, and then we'll do the $7,000 in October. That means we'll take and find $10,000
Okay,
in
just,
that budget.
yeah, just so I understand, you're saying 10,000 from contingency,
Yeah.
and then we can see if we can find 10,000 somewhere
There's
else.
$10,000 in their budget. There's $10,000 in their budget.
Okay.
Doug Gaines has 10,000 in his line.
There's
item.
10,000 there for a,
So you're saying use those two line items,
Right.
and then what do we do October 1st?
we give them $7,000 out of the New Year's budget. And work, when that park's finished, we come up, if I have to raise the 10,000,
I
I'll go
understand.
raise it.
Yeah, you can do
I
that.
can promise
Sure.
you. So we can do that, $27,000.
Okay, so I just want to be clear, when will the $20,000 be
We can do that,
available for?
but you got 10,000 already sitting there. We're gonna vote to give you 10,000 more tonight. That
Okay.
gives you $20,000.
Okay.
I mean, and then
Okay.
we're gonna work and give you
Yeah,
7.
that's what I wanted to know.
Commissioner, I promise you that I'll find the $10,000 for that. If we can't do it through the budget, I'll find it.
I know we have two more commissioners to listen to, but
Yeah, I know.
I'm just,
But
no,
we
I,
can talk all night, but we need to get on
Yeah.
with the meeting, but we can vote on doing that. That way you get $20,000 instead of 17, and we come up with 7 at the thing. Somebody will have, so if you wanna keep talking about it, we can talk about it, but we need to move on.
I'd just like to make a comment, Mayor. I agree what you just said, the 10 from the HRDB budget, 10 from contingency, and I can even sweeten that pot up a little bit and use my discretionary funds as a commissioner. I believe, about $6,000 left.
Go. That gives you
So,
33,000.
We're getting there.
Well, you don't want to fight this thing, because I think that's the way to do it. You know,
So we need a vote?
we need a vote, is it okay?
I have a couple of comments.
I figured that, go ahead. That don't mean all night, Commissioner.
No, it won't be all night. You know, here's the thing that really kind of perplexed me about this whole thing. Because for one, we had a meeting on June 21st. And we went through, we talked about this for 2 hours and 7 minutes. 2 hours, 7 minutes and some seconds. I watched it. And we came up with a solid plan to get this done, and it went back to the HRDB. The HRDB says, no, we don't want to use this money. What perplexed me is the fact that we're going back and forth over this. This is an event this is a very solemn event that we should all be getting behind. Oh, no, I'm not finished. The fact of the matter is, Ms. Young, when did you start working on this project? When did you start working on this year's project, or the 23rd? I'm asking a question.
2 weeks after Remembrance last year.
Okay, so we have started doing this Remembrance since 2020. And in 2020, we started working on this thing sometime around September. We got the money in October. We put it on for November. We did the same thing the following year in 2021. And here we are in 2022, working on a budget for 2023, and we're still going back and forth. This is the very first time we had the opportunity to work on this 1 year in advance. Mr. Kennedy, you mentioned that there was a lack of leadership to actually make this happen. You said that you just did not feel confident in the leadership to be able to make this thing happen. Well, the problem is, if we're still going back and forth 8 months later, then you're crippling the leadership and allowing them to do what they need to be doing. But for the simple fact that we're having this conversation and we're going back and forth, this was actually settled last meeting, where we had $10,000 that we all agreed on, this commission agreed upon, and then we all said, okay, let's go with that. And then we come to find out there's $7,000 we've all been talking about for 8 months. And we come to find out at one meeting, we don't have the $7,000. And it's okay, maybe that's my fault, because I should know that money doesn't roll over. Some things roll over, some things don't. So I'm a little confused about what rolls over versus what doesn't roll over. I'm getting mixed signals about what's rolling over and what's not rolling over.
Well, I mean, Commissioner,
so that
if I may.
$7,000, I'm not finished. That $7,000 is not available. So now we had to come back to the commission to figure out how do we move $7,000. Now, had the director that understands our budget and what the HRDB budget holds had been at the meeting last on June 21st, he could have came out and told us, you don't have the $7,000. We could have fixed that issue right then and right there. But yet, here we are.
That gentleman has been saying that in every HRDB board meeting.
I didn't cut you off.
He has said,
excuse me, sir,
because I've
you're
asked
out of
you.
order. You're out of order.
But you're saying falsities.
You're
You
out
are
of order,
lying on
sir.
the board.
You're out of order, sir. I'm not finished talking.
Hey, I'll take care of it.
Okay, well, I'm waiting on you to do it.
Will you be quiet and I'll take care of it?
Okay, well, I'm waiting on you to
Do not
tell your friends they're out of
Well,
order.
I apologize.
Will you wait till I can tell you?
Okay, thank you.
And I'm not gonna have you speak all night. Finish it up.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna move it.
anywho, like I was saying, as I was stating before, we're still going back and forth with the same things over and over again. When we have a music festival, we say we're gonna allocate $250,000 or $300,000. We say yes, we hit the hammer, we hit the gavel, we go, and it happens. Why are we still dealing with this, for this particular event? It doesn't make any sense, because you have members on the board that sat there to kill, steal, and destroy, and to confuse everything on that board. That board started doing this thing, and I sat there on that board from November of last year working on this, and we actually had, you're out of order, you're out of order, you're out of order. You're still, he's still talking from the floor, you're out of order, sir.
If you'll be quiet, I'll tell him
So
that.
again, and again, the thing,
Let me tell him.
okay, go ahead, tell him.
Well, I just told him, so you don't keep interrupting
Okay,
when I'm
all
trying
right.
to tell him.
Well, I was speaking, he was out of order.
I know.
But nonetheless, you know, it perplexes me and upsets me the fact that we have to go to battle for something that we all say, I'm hearing we agree upon this. Everybody says we agree. The descendants came in, we shook hands with them, we kumbaya, we cried with them, we told them we welcome back to the city, and we told them that we're gonna make good on our promises. But yet still, we're still sitting here hemming and hawing over $30,000, which is just a drop in a bucket from what we spent on a Court Music Festival. Why are we here, why are we going through this when we shouldn't have to go through this? So what I'm going to propose, I agree with the $20,000. I agree with that. But these things need to be said because these things are happening, and they are happening behind the scenes. They're not happening on this commission when the cameras are rolling. They're happening behind the scenes. And the problem is, Ms. John, how many people have you spoken to about this particular event? You know, that goes without saying. And the thing about that is, when we put on the music festival, I don't think that there's one commissioner up here that goes to the promoter and say, tell me about your line items.
Right.
Tell me about how much money you spend.
Right.
Tell me about how much money you're making. It doesn't happen. But it's happening here with this event. These are the things that's happening behind the scenes, and it's wrong.
That's it.
So now you can smile in the face and kumbaya, but then blow my head off with a shotgun at the same time. It doesn't make any sense for you to do that.
That's it.
Well, that's what's happening behind the scenes. I agree with $20,000, and let's move on.
All right, well,
I said what I had to say.
I will say that you keep throwing that music fest in, raise $300,000. Raise $300,000. You want to do it, raise $300,000. You don't tell these folks that we go out and raise $300,000. That's why you put it on. There's 15,000 people come to that. Citizens from everywhere, not just one group of citizens from everywhere. I've been trying to work with you to do this, and you changed tonight when you come up and did the other, Jennifer. So we've tried to do this, but you throw in another complaint. Nobody's trying to do anything, but these people sit up here as commissioners have a moral right to do what's right for citizens of the whole town. You can stand or do whatever you want to do, but that's the way it works. Raise the sponsorships, and you ask what we do with them. They pay the bills when we do this sponsorship. That's what they do. The money goes straight into the city, and that's how we pay things as we go. So here's the deal. I offered you $27,000, and he's offered you $6,000. That's $33,000. We did it for $15,000 and did the same thing that you want to do here. We did it for $15,000. But you're paying a professional to do it. That's the difference. All right. Here, take that. I'll make the motion that we give 20,000 to 10,000 plus the 10,000 from contingency, the 10,000 out of the HRD money, and 7,000 come October at the budget. So that's total of 27,000.
Mayor, the one issue, Commissioner, the $6,000 you mentioned, if you're talking about this year's money, that will go away September 30th, so.
That's why he's got to go ahead and write the check.
Right, so what is the amount? Is it the $3,000 difference or the $6,000 is what we need to know?
He says he had.
Because you had said you had up to $6,000, so.
You can use all of that.
Okay.
I've used it this year to my satisfaction.
Okay, so we would have to go ahead and we would have to,
Yeah, you can pay that
to move
too.
that money.
We could go ahead and
into-
give them 23 in reality.
Well, it would be 26 is
20.
what I'm saying. Okay.
All right, all right. We have to make I'm gonna make the motion, so the motion won't be 26, it'll be 26, 26.
And I think there's just
No,
the
it'll
minutes
The
will
10
be,
comes
It'll
out
be-
of already there.
It'll be,
But
okay,
his
if
is
I'm
different.
correct, it will be 10,000 from contingency.
Right.
It will be 10,000, I'm gonna say this, 10,000 for the monument, which they already said they don't want to use, but that's, okay. It'd be 10,000 from the monument, and then we're anticipating 7,000
In
from, we have to say anticipated because the budget hasn't been
Yeah, I know,
approved yet.
I know.
Anticipated 7,000 from the 2023, 22-23 budget, and then whatever Commissioner Firstner has in his account that, again, just as Commissioner Oliver, that money goes away. The only thing to my knowledge, and I'm not a budget guru, the only thing that doesn't go away is donations.
Right.
They carry through to the next year or whatever.
right.
But what money you have that ends September 30th, it's gone.
So the $10,000 that they originally had was not a donation.
That-
That money was allocated from the city for that sculpture.
And see, that could be, that's a question, Rob, is that money go away, or is
So-
that a capital, is that a it's a
so
capital?
typically it would go away. Some of the capital projects, if you know it's imminent, you make the request at the end of the year. So If they had gone ahead and got prices and said, okay, it's September 29th, we know it's $10,000, we're going to put our PO in tomorrow, we can roll it over. Typically, without a request to roll that money over, everything, and with a good reason. We don't just roll it over because of request, but for good reasons. You know, you can encumber the money because you know you're a week late or something, or there's some delay. We can do that, but a capital project in process and donation accounts are typically the only ones that roll over.
So that 10,000 is basically a capital, but can it be, this is a question for the budget side, can it be used for this right now, and that it's
Well,
a capital?
I would make the motion to authorize $10,000 from contingency and authorize the $10,000 from the, I'm not sure it's the monuments, to be transferred into this account, and Commissioner, the Commissioner's $6,000.
So that $10,000 did roll over? It rolled
I
over
don't
last year?
know, I don't know if it did or not. I don't know what year it was originally budgeted. The request may have come in, you know, through the
I think
liaison
it's
or
still in
something.
the budget right now. It might change come October.
When was that originally requested? When was the $10,000 originally requested?
Jay said last fiscal.
Last year, 2021? So was that 20,000? Okay.
All right,
I believe in the last meeting, Doug Gaines said it's rolled over twice.
all right.
Okay,
So
and that was
that's
probably
fair.
by
All right.
request.
So,
Okay.
I'm thinking, will you read that out? All right, first of all, he's gonna read that out, and after that, I got one more comment, and we're gonna move on. This is, we're trying to come up with, we're really coming up with more money than what you asked tonight, so let's see.
All right, this is a motion to approve $10,000 from contingency, reallocation of the $10,000 that the HRDB board has set aside for the monument, and then $6,000 from, approximately $6,000 from Commissioner Firstner's discretionary account, and a commitment or projected $7,000 budget to the HRDB board on October 1st.
Right. All right, do I hear a second? Second, Commissioner
Well,
Wilson.
I'll
All
be-
right, motion made and seconded. First, before we vote, I'm gonna make a comment. Preacher, I'm not putting you on the fire here, but I'm gonna make the comment about what happened today when you called me. Somebody sent out emails on social media to come tonight, and I see a lot of you here, people here tonight, we don't usually have but 4 or 5 people. But they sent out an email that we were doing away with the remembrance altogether. Now, how many of you got that email? Well, some of you here for that reason, I know. So they ain't gonna raise their hand anyway, but I'm telling you, that has never been the issue, never. So, once again, that, what is that called on that false?
Conspiracy theory?
Huh?
Conspiracy theory?
No, they call it something else, but nobody at this commission has ever said we're doing away with that. Never. So I just want you to know that up front. That was somebody sent that out through the chain. It ended up in the preacher's wife, and everybody else got it, I guess. But never, ever was that said. I've been working with Miss Jennifer, and it's completely different what we talked about, but that's no problem. I worked, like I said, I'm all for it. We were all for it for the last year and the year before. We've been working to this thing, but everybody tries to throw a kink in it. It's not. We're here tonight, like we said before, we were gonna bring it back tonight and talk about it. You can't. The board went back and did what they were supposed to do. Thank you, Mr. Carr. Thank you, everybody. We want to make it work. Let's vote. Everybody in favor, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Now, we got these things here for speakers. Do you need to speak? We're done with it.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a comment?
Yes.
First of all, thank you very much for supporting this project. I want to address Commissioner Oliver's comments, and I have an additional request. There's a very simple reason why this isn't as easy or the same as previous years, and it's because there's a lot of new members on the HRDB, and we collectively voted not to do exactly what was done in previous years. As you may know, when I've talked about this before. Commissioner Oliver, first, I just want to say, I've been to 5 HRDB meetings and 3 subcommittee meetings since I was appointed, and I've seen Commissioner Oliver, I believe, twice. It's possible a third time. And he is our liaison with the commission. So first of all, there's an obvious reason why there's a serious communication problem between the HRDB and the commission, and I would tangentially request that you fix it. Either give us a commissioner that will attend our meetings or create a substitution program. When he's not able to attend, we need someone there. I know that one time when he didn't attend, Commissioner Brinson, you came, but you sat in the audience as a member of the public. And I said to someone next to me, I said, I wish he would go I wish he'd go fill in. And I think this is such an important committee. As we talked about last time, it's sensitive, it's emotional to some people, raised voices. We need leadership. And that liaison position is an important position to us. And it's not, I'll say it's not fair to members. It's not fair to the public for that seat to be empty. So if you all can work out something, and we all have conflicts, but I don't know what you all do on other boards when a commissioner can't attend, but if we could have a substitute or the mayor, it'd be great. But back to my point, the reason is what we wanted, and one of the issues that came up when I went to the subcommittee was I asked, as I've said several times, who is the customer? And the customer of the previous event was unanimously solely the families of the descendants. And what we wanted was a unity. We wanted to add this, what you see here, the Ocoee Remembers Unity Day. We wanted to bring in a larger group of people from the public. That's why we discussed a golf tournament. That's why we have this Unity Day, because we wanted to market to a broader customer base in the city. The last events were not attended by many people in the city, and that's what we were trying to do.
I'm gonna let you, she didn't start it, so I'm gonna let you comment back if you want to.
Yeah.
We need to let it.
Again, Mr. Kennedy, thank you for your comments, and I do believe that the HRDB has a chairperson, and I'm trying to figure out why that chairperson is not here presenting on behalf of the HRDB. So, no, he's a subcommittee chair, but there's an actual chairperson that actually sits at the head of the HRDB that should be here presenting. So, again, that goes without saying. So, I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. I didn't cut you off. I'm just answering your question. I'm not asking you a question. I'm making a comment.
All right,
so, again, there's an HRDB chair who's not here, that should be here presenting for the HRDB, as opposed to the subcommittee chair. And the fact of the matter is, you say you attended 5 meetings, and it's okay, because I sat there in the meeting in November, December, January, and the consensus for those meetings were, we're doing a great job, we're getting a head start on this particular event, and this is the first time we've. This is the first time that we've ever had the opportunity to go for 1 year and plan this particular event. This is the first time we have ever had to do this. But it wasn't until Mr. Lumnick and Mr. Kennedy entered sat on that board, got on that board back in January. Then all of a sudden, everything started being questioned. There was an issue with leadership. There was an issue with everything. There was an issue with the line item. There was an issue how we did things last year. There's always been an issue from the time you guys sat on that board. From the time from the time the mayor got you guys put on that board, there's always been an issue.
Okay.
There's always been an issue. So again, thank you for your comments. We'll work on the leadership. We'll make sure that the HRDB chairperson should be here presenting. Because I don't know, did the HRDB vote to have you guys speak for the HRDB?
Commissioner, that's it.
I'd like to call a
You've had
question.
plenty of time to talk. He's got the camera off.
Go ahead.
So, all right, he put in a form, I'm gonna let the preacher talk. Then we're gonna move on with the business tonight. If you wanna you've made it. All right, we need to get this moving on.
Thank you. I'll be super quick. First of all, commissioners, thank you. We have been involved. Again, my name is Keith Tower. I'm the pastor of High Point Church, And we have been involved in this event from before the first one. We've provided the bulk of the manpower that's helped pull it off. We actually are the ones that branded it, Ocoee Remembers, so we've been in, and I gotta tell you, it has been the honor of our lifetime to be able to serve at this. So thank you for allowing us to serve. HRDB, I know it's hard getting there. Thank you. I know bringing multiple parties together, thank you. I personally, for one, am extremely satisfied that we wanted 30,000 for this, and we've got 33. So thank you. To me, that's a big win across the board. I think, Jennifer, we have a lot that can make this happen. So I'm very satisfied, and to the citizens of Ocoee, as long as my church is here, I'm confident that the city is going to continue to do the right thing on this event, but if they don't, we'll host it, because we firmly believe in it. I would also say this too, just because our name came up with an $8,000 figure, just to be crystal clear, so if, in case anybody's wondering why is the city paying a church, they're not. For the last 2 years, we have fronted the money to pull the event off. So when we stood here last year asking for $7,500, we were told that's what the budget was, and that was money that we had already spent because we believe in the event. And at that time, I believe I also said, if you're not gonna reimburse us for what we were told, we'll pay it anyway. So we have actually gone out of pocket, just to be crystal clear. We have spent our church resources because we believe in this event. Whether we have a line item budget or not, I think our involvement in this, I just want to be crystal clear so it doesn't sound like we're sitting at a trough trying to get money from this. We have been sacrificial in this and will gladly continue to serve our city in this event. So we believe in it. City, we're going to get there. This is how a divided city becomes one, right? As we meet together, we talk through difficult issues, we do it in a peaceful manner, we pull agendas together, and this is happening. We're gonna have a unity park, and it's not just gonna be a symbol. That is gonna be something we can all point to as a unified city, and we're gonna look back someday and say, remember the wrestling match to get there, and we're gonna get there. So, thank you.
Thank you. One more. You got 2 minutes, and then we're done, and I got a comment to make. And we're moving on with the agenda.
Absolutely. When I got on the board, I was doing some disruptive things. It's because I'm a taxpayer, and I want to see these things done, but I want to see them done fiscally responsible. And before I got there, this event was going to cost $130,000. Why are you shaking your head, sir? They brought the thing up here. I sat on the meeting my third night. It was $125,000, and they wanted to add more. Why are you shaking your head? You've called me out, so I'm answering your question.
Are you asking me a question?
Let it finish.
You said it's my fault.
Well, I can answer your question because they did it for $15,000 last year, sir.
You just said to let him finish.
You asking me a question?
No, you told him.
It was a statement. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
all right.
It was a statement.
Okay,
Hey,
statement.
excuse me.
There you go.
Finish, and we're done.
Thank you. I've sat on that board the last couple months. I've said, we need to focus on every diversity in our city. I tried to get that board in the last 3 months to come up with diversity champions. I asked each one of those members to come up with a month and say they want June, they're gonna take Pride Month. They want February, they're gonna take Black History Month. And they're the champion for that month. The only thing they wanna talk about is the Ocoee Remembrance events, and it takes 3 hours of our meetings. And we don't get to talk about Native American people, we don't get to talk about Asian people, we don't get to talk about Spanish people. We don't get to talk about anybody. And when I asked for each member to come up with a month, I was told it's a voluntary board, and they don't have to do that. So,
All right.
that's what I've been dealing with.
All right.
Not that I don't want any of this. I absolutely think we need to remember, we need to have a dinner, we need to have the Sunday thing. I agree with 100%.
All right.
We've done it, I still have 9 seconds. We've done it the last 2 years for $15,000. And before, the money didn't come out till October last year, is when they got
All
their
right,
money.
thank you. All right,
Mayor,
that's it.
Mayor, let me say
That's
something.
it.
No,
We'll be here all-
no,
no,
I'm gonna
no,
agree with him.
not
I'm gonna
all.
agree. This
No,
is not gonna be controversial,
No, sir.
but I agree
Out
with what
of
you're
order.
saying. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And that's why I've asked the city manager in our budget workshop to put $100,000 toward cultural events.
No.
$25,000 for each cultural event, 4 events per year. So I agree with you on that. So if that's something that you want to work on, we can work on that, because I've actually asked for that in our budget workshops. $100,000 to go toward culturally diverse events in our city.
That'll be going to the budget through the process. But the problem is, just like somebody sending that email out just to cause trouble tonight, the other thing is, the preacher, and I don't see any of the other, the HRV, the board members that was there, they worked a year to put that thing on, over a year. Not, you keep saying this is only one they're gonna do a year. No, that's not true. That was happening a long time before we had the 2022. That was done by over a year of work, and it turned out. So we're gonna move on. Thank you, folks. That's the deal. We got 27,000 plus 6 makes it 33. So that's a good thing for everybody, and we have a deal. So, now let's move on. All right. Whew. Consent agenda. Rosemary.
Oh, no, I was just asking something else.
Cause
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
you make a motion, what?
Sorry. I know, I'm the only one wearing a mask. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I have no questions.
Oh, motion made by Commissioner Wilson for the consent agenda. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Branson.
I need to pull an item.
All right, which one?
Item number 9.
Number 9.
Well, I'll make the motion to
We
approve
want to make
everyone.
the motion to approve everything except number 9.
I
So that
agree.
means all the way down to 11. Do I hear a motion to do?
I make a motion
Make
for
a
that.
motion by Commissioner Wilson to approve everything except 9. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Branson. Let's vote. All right, number 9.
Number 9 is a change order. That is a item for a change order for a project for the downtown master stormwater pond and park. It's actually increased by $231,000, $231,228.35. The question I have with that is, when I read the agenda concerning that particular item, and it's for, I guess the price of the concrete or the retention wall was not, I guess they did not configure or think about the size of the contention wall. So the question I have is, did the wall change, the dimensions or the size of the wall change from the time that the project was proposed up until needing this change here?
Commissioner, nothing changed in the plans. The bid items, the estimators or the designer did not account for 2 walls that are part of the project. It's a very detailed, it's not just one wall, there's like 7 different size walls. And there's a couple walls that were not included all the quantities. So this is what we're actually getting. We haven't increased construction costs. It's actually the quantities we're building that should have been there from the start. And the time is because we're having a tough time just getting concrete right now.
Yeah, I understand about the materials. And the reason I'm questioning is because, again, this is a $231,000 item that we're increasing the budget on. And this is a project that was approved back in 2021. And so that tells me that something was missed. Somebody missed something. There was 2 additional walls that was not accounted for in the initial proposal. So I'm trying to figure out, where was that missed? Who missed that? How do we miss that? How do we miss $231,000 worth of concrete at the beginning of a project? And the reason I'm saying that is because, again, being fiscally responsible for our citizens and our tax dollars, I just want to know, could that have been prevented from the beginning? Because, again, here's the thing. If we approved this in 2021 and we had a set amount of money to pay for the stormwater and the retention walls, it was set at a set amount. Now, we understand what happens as time goes by, the price of materials go up. So had we caught that the first time, is it possible that we could have actually saved some of this money had it been caught the first time, these 2 additional retention walls for this particular project?
We haven't had any increases because it's a unit price contract, and the items are at a per cubic yard cost. So we haven't been affected by the increases in materials on this. The designer, their quality control is pretty good, but like I said, it was a very detailed job. They should have had it included in the quantities, but they didn't. We went through, reviewed it all, and the contractor said there was a discrepancy. We pretty much got into the weeds on this and figured out the actual amount. and verified that, yeah, this was a bust.
So we're getting more concrete, but they ain't charging us anymore for the concrete.
Correct.
We're getting two more walls, but we ain't paying for it. So what's this $230,000 for?
We are paying for what was designed. There's no additional from what was designed. The quantities were not correct according to the designer. And as far as an increase in cost, the unit prices are held throughout the contract. We don't allow for an escalation of materials or anything like that in our contracts.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, you want to make a motion to accept that?
I'll make the motion to accept item number 9.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver for item number 9. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Firstman. Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Before we move to the next item, I just want to take a minute. Preacher, it was a godsend that you guys joined in with us a couple of years ago to do what you do. You tell the church members, and I wouldn't mind coming and telling myself, that has been a lifesaver for this city, having you guys involved and participating in what we do. You're the only church that come out and volunteered to join in and do that. So we appreciate it. I appreciate it in the city, and I appreciate your efforts and your time and what you do. We're going to have a chair to stand up beside you. First reading of ordinance. Item number 12, first reading of ordinance for Land Development Code Amendment to Article 6, Section 6, to consolidate the sign code. Zoning Manager Whitfield. We don't need that tonight.
Yep.
He's going to read it, and then the next one will be August the 16th.
All right, this is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the City of Ocoee Land Development Code, Article 6, Section 6-14C5, Sign Design Standards, and Article 8, Sign Code, in order to consolidate provisions from Section 6-14C5 of Article 6 into Article 8, and reorganize and update Article 8, Sign Code accordingly, providing for codification, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right, this will be brought back for the second reading on August the 16th. You can make your comments then if you have any comments. Item 13, first reading of ordinance for Land Development Code, amendment to Article 5, Section 5-41, clarity fence requirements for corner lots and lots with multiple street frontages.
All right, this is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the City of Ocoee Land Development Code, Article 5, Section 5-4.1, fences related to design requirements for corner lots and lots with multiple frontages, providing for codification, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right, this will be brought back also on August the 16th for the vote when public comments. All right, let's move down to second readings of ordinance, public hearing. Second reading of ordinance, adopting the new boundaries for the commission districts of the City of Ocoee.
So I think we need a
Clerk,
motion to continue this to August 16th meeting.
All right, we're going to continue this to August the 16th.
Let's do a
Do
motion.
you need a motion
I need a
for that?
motion.
I'll make a motion, we continue this
Motion
to
made by
August
Commissioner
16th.
Brinson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. That'll be brought back on the 16th. All right, we're going to move over to number 15, public hearing, variance request for Berrydenburg at 125 South Lake Shore. Zoning Manager Whitfield. That's South Lake Shore.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, audience members. So the variance is for the property at 125 South Lake Shore. It's to reduce the front setback from 30 feet to 15 feet for the purposes of building a garage. The property is located on the west side of Lakeshore Drive. It's about 1/3 of an acre with a home built in 1958. It was purchased in 2021. The property is zoned R1 AAA, and it's a corner lot that has frontages on 3 sides. This is an aerial of the property. This is the property's surrounding zoning districts. This is a survey of the property. So as you can see, the house is essentially here. And then there's an existing driveway. There's no garage structure or carport of any kind at the house. And so because it's a corner lot, the shape of this lot, it doesn't have any rear yards. So it's got two fronts along Lafayette Street, and then one along Lakeshore. And the garage is going to be in the back of the house with a 30-foot front setback. So they're asking for a 15-foot encroachment. The code requires the variance to meet 4 criteria, specifically special conditions and circumstances specific to the lot. That a literal interpretation of the code would limit the property owner's ability to enjoy the rights that are commonly enjoyed by other property owners, and that there are no conditions resulting from the applicant or the property owner, and that granting this variance doesn't confer any special privileges to this property owner that beyond other property owners in the city. In reviewing these 4 criteria, staff finds that the variance is warranted and justified, and we support the variance. With that, staff is recommending that the commission approve the reduction of the front building setback from 30 feet to 15 feet on the Lafayette Street side, just for the parking, just for the garage, for this property. That's it.
Are there owners here?
He's right there.
Could you come up a minute? I want to ask you a question. I talked to the previous owner of that home, one you bought it from, and the one before. There's a septic tank in that back.
There is one, and it will be 5 feet away from the house and 5 feet away from the drainage field. The actual septic tank is in the fenced-in area closest to the house.
Okay, just want to make sure that the city checked that too? Okay. I just wanted to ask you, 'cause he asked me about it, and I said, well, I'll find out tonight, but I just want to make sure you do
Oh, yes, sir, we did.
that. Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, do I hear a motion?
I'll
Or
be
anybody want to talk?
No, I was just gonna say, I know it's in my district, and I've had no negative comments from any of the neighbors, so that's positive.
Oh.
Negative, but I'll make that motion to approve.
Oh, wait a minute,
Oh,
I
I'm
got
sorry.
to open the public hearing. I already
I'm
called
sorry.
you up, but public hearing. Anybody else have any comments on that issue? If not, we'll close it, bring it up to the dais. Anybody have comments? You want to make a motion?
I'll be happy to make the motion, but I don't know if anyone has comments.
I don't have it.
Okay.
I'll wait for your motion.
Comments, no? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson to approve,
I'll second it.
seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? Motion carries.
Oh,
Thank
really?
You gotta vote.
We have to vote.
Did you look? Okay, yeah.
Motion carries.
I think,
Motion carries.
did it carry?
Vote
Okay,
carries.
I was gonna say.
Motion and the vote carries. It was a motion.
There was.
I told you we talked too much earlier. All right, let's see. All right, item 16, variance request for VMG Shops at 101 West Silver Star Road, Development Services Director Rumer.
Yes, sir, Mayor. Again, this is a variance to a side setback from 10 feet to 3 feet. And variances by statute are based on hardship, and you'll see this is truly a unique hardship variance that we're going to propose to you today on this project. So this is, again, a side setback from 10 feet to 3 feet for an existing building. The property is located on the north side of Silver Star Road, west of Blueford, right adjacent to the Central Florida, the CSX Railroad. And I just want to draw your attention to what the property appraiser shows as the railroad right-of-way coming through here. You can see in between here, this is Silver Star. You see how it's a like nice, unique, parallel line which indicates the width of the right-of-way. You can see the railroad has some funky property undulations, and right adjacent to this parcel, you'll see it really thins out. The parcel's over a half acre, it's C2. We have, it was one of the first projects in our downtown after our master plan. It's a really nice looking building. This is the site, and under the site plan review, the surveys provided, the survey work done by the surveyor showed a property line that apparently was not correct, and that's the reason for this variance. You can see the building has been built, and the right-of-way for the railroad, based off of survey work, based off the information the property appraiser had,
was not as wide as it should have been. Therefore, a portion of the buildings in the stormwater pond are located in the railroad right-of-way. And so that right-of-way line was proven to be incorrect on the surveys. CSX provided the property owners with the correct new property line, so that's why they're willing to, this is where the line comes in. You can see where it crosses the buildings, which are out there in this pond, and the owners are mitigating it by cutting off. You can see these portions of the building, which have to be cut and removed, and it'll relieve, in order to make the building functional, which is there, hasn't been CO'd yet, but it is a good-looking building. In order to make it work on this west side property line, they need a variance to 3 feet. So this is a true hardship, a true, we've worked with them, try to find how this property line issue came up, and all I can say is that the railroad is one of the largest landowners in the world, and they have documents that we might not have privy to. So that's the background for this variance, true hardship. The property on the west side is the railroad, and then the property on the other side of the railroad is also owned by the property owner that's developing the building. So the variance, if approved, will not put an undue harm on an adjacent neighbor. And it is, except for this little section, this is a passive side. All the activity and such is on the east side of the building. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna open the public hearing. Anybody in the public have any comments? If not, we'll close it and bring it back to the dais. Any comments from the commissioners?
I have a question, if I may. The distance from the right-of-way, the railroad right-of-way to the property line is gonna be what now?
The railroad right-of-way is the property line. The distance from that new realized line to this building, to the building will be 3 feet. By code, it would be 10 foot. We thought we were meeting that 10 foot. So it's new property line, distance to building, 3 feet. It's supposed to be 10 foot.
Okay, so with modifications or to the building, reconstruction of that portion of the building, it would be at 10 feet then?
It'll be at 3 feet.
3 feet?
3 feet.
Still at 3 feet. So if I'm inside the
Right
building,
now
there's a
it's-
window,
right.
I can touch the train.
Let's hope not.
Pastor can. Not come close.
I play big. I may not be, but I play big. That's for you, Pastor Towers, you know. Yeah, that's a concern, because
As in, there's no, this is not an active side, there's not a sidewalk, this is not a,
right, but people don't need sidewalks to walk behind buildings.
yes, that's true, yeah.
And that's a security, safety issue I'm looking at. Because as you was explaining, I read that, I said, well, that can't be the case. But then you explained exactly what I thought could not be the case.
It's exactly,
It is
this
a
is the
safety
line.
issue.
Yes, and so they're cutting back the building and then cutting it back enough to be 3 feet. This is the new property line.
Yeah.
Instead of 10 feet, they will be 3 feet.
So
So it'll have that effect.
Approximately how far from the railroad itself?
Oh, the railroad itself is, let me see.
I'm looking and I couldn't tell, and I'm pretty good at
From the
blueprints.
railroads,
I see
it's gonna be another, it's an additional 15 feet on the east side, plus that distance in the railroad. So there's gonna be 18 feet to the old property line, plus the distance from the property line to the physical tracks, might be 6, 8 foot. So you're talking, there's 25 feet to the railroad tracks, at least.
Okay. That's all.
So,
right.
yeah, I see what you're saying. So pastor reaches out, he's just feeling the breeze, but it's close.
But I don't get a breeze?
You get a breeze.
Okay. That's all I have.
Anybody else?
Yeah. There's still unrestricted access on the west side of that building for firefighting operations, being that the railroad track is there, but they still have unrestricted access to that
Yes,
west
there's
side?
there's no coolers or walls or anything to
AC units.
inhibit that thing.
Okay.
Anybody else? I will say it's a nice looking building to be cutting part of it off.
Yeah.
But, so, all right, that it?
That's it. This makes the title clear so they can finish funding and all that, so.
All right. Did I open it to the public for comments? I thought I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so now we need a motion.
I'll be happy to make that motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Wilson, there's a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Brinson. All right, let's vote. Ooh, motion carries, vote carries unanimously. Motion and unanimous. All right. Item 17, Ocoee Crown Point Mixed-Use Development, Track 6E, 6E, 6F, 6D, and 33 of Ocoee Crown Point PUD Large-Scale Preliminary Site Plan. Developer Service Director Room.
Yeah, Mayor, thank you. This is over 16 acres. It's located in the Ocoee Crown Point Plan Unit Development, which currently consists of the Ocoee High School, a vacant site that the school board owns for an elementary school, another site where the West Orange Tech College is going to be going, which is located right here. And we have other tracks within the PUD that have built out. We have the preserve at Crown Point. There's a park. There's some other tracks throughout on both sides of the 429 that were all purchased and master planned back in the early 2000s as the Crown Point PUD. The track before you today was called out as a town center. The idea being you have the roundabout in this PD, you had the high school which opened out on this road, and it envisioned a mixture of uses, mixed use, residential, retail opportunities for a town, village type of a operation. It's vacant. I mean, it's undeveloped. The West Orange Trail crosses, and the PUD has a lot of different tracks. There's a track for a public road. There's tracks for drainage, and so this parcel is currently owned by the city of Ocoee. It's under contract for purchase, and we had an LOI. We gave direction to move forward with contract. We're under contract, and now they're facilitating their due diligence and part of their approvals in order to close on the property from the city. And this is the first step. You have the West Orange Trail cutting through, and you have Ocoee-Apopka Road. This is the 429. Commercially zoned. These are the tracks within the plan unit development. You can see a number of track numbers. There's a lot of tracks within this PD property all over the place. We purchased it, sell parts back to the school board, and they had like this part that's owned by the OCPS was originally designated as townhomes or a bus transfer station. Now it's going to be built out as a West Orange Tech Center, which is nice. And then we have the parcels in red, which are the ones that are under contract and as part of this plan unit development. Wire Development, the applicant who is here, is proposing a preliminary plan for a mixed-use development, multifamily, retail, some live-work units. Originally, the tract was approved for up to 114,000 square feet of retail and 4,200 trips. So it's a plan unit development. We're bringing forward the preliminary plan, which the next step after this will come to the commission is the final site plan, and this is the layout. We have the Ocoee Crown Point Parkway, the roundabout that's existing, the road which was envisioned, and it's a tract in the original PD, is going to be in place. There's one minor amendment, is the road originally was designed to come and terminate at Ocoee-Apopka Road right at the trail. And in that plan, they envisioned moving the trail around this intersection. This trail crossing is not going to be approved by Orange County, so we had to do two things. For the tech school, we had to come up with an additional access on Ocoee-Apopka, which meets separation. And then this project, instead of hugging that property line, it has a driveway onto Ocoee-Apopka as well, which we met with Orange County, and these driveways meet all separation requirements. So what's proposed? That is incorrect. I don't think it's 301 multifamily units. I got so many going right now. I think it's around 310. Okay. And then you have retail and mixed use, which are in red. And I'll describe it as we go from the roundabout near the high school. Everyone knows that location. The first building, these are all, this is a 3-story building, multifamily, and the buildings are up on the road. That's what the original PD had in this village town center. Parking in the rear, village buildings up on the road. We have additional multifamily units. This long building, and I'll show you in an elevation, it doubles as it's standalone retail, but it also facilitates the amenities of the apartment. But you can come here on a new public road, visit the retail. You just wouldn't be able to get keyed in the door to do some of the amenities for the apartments. These units are really unique. They're in operation. I'll show you a picture. These are live-work units. We have an additional multifamily with retail up on the trail. And then on the other side of the West Orange Trail, we have additional units with retail with access on this new road that the school, West Orange Tech, is constructing. This utility area is in Orange County. And as I said, this project will be constructing a new public road. And we understand this project is next to a high school. We understand, and it was approved in 2000, that high school students don't like to pay for parking, and will try to park, and they'll use this road. And so we came up with a roundabout as a way, as a traffic calming, as well as these crosswalks from the wide sidewalks are raised in order to help traffic know that they are sharing the road. This meets the intent of the plan unit development. Let me go over the elevations. So one thing, these buildings here are townhomes, but they are not going to be platted as fee simple ownership. They will all be constructed under one ownership, one maintenance, but these are full rental units. Market rate, just like the apartments. So we have a mixture of apartments, townhouses. We have this live work, which I'll show you, and then non-residential retail. So that's a picture of the townhouses. This is the multifamily that has the retail in it, tall glass. This is the retail front as part of the building that's on the north here. And then lastly, this is what the live work units look like. This is in Windermere. The developer of this project develops this product in these type of developments. So they produce. They understand how to construct these, and they understand how they operate. This was one of the key features in the PD because it gives someone an opportunity to live and work in the same space. These are not built out to be, now the applicant can discuss this further or answer any questions, as a restaurant type use. They are pre-finished, more of an office use without grease traps and all that stuff. So this will facilitate, so you have a number of opportunities to live, work, have retail, experience retail on the trail. Also, the developer is working with the Orange County Trails about a park being adjacent to the trail and how they can make this amenity not tie in pavement-wise, but they can work together to a park that'll benefit everyone. Because there's a stoplight, as you know, on Ocoee Poplar Road, right here. With that, I will entertain the DRC and Planning and Zoning. I'll recommend approval and open up for any questions.
I'm going to open it up to the public hearing. If you didn't have anything to read, does the developer want to say anything? Come on, give us your name.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Holly Garcia. I'm with Wire Development. It's It's my company. We're a 100% woman-owned real estate developer here in Florida. We have been working on this project for some time and put this property under contract to purchase from your group, and the intent is to create a community mixed-use development within Crown Point. I understand there's kind of a history here, but we're super excited to be involved and create something that allows residents to have new places to live, grow the community, but also have businesses and business space available to them. The spaces that Mike was talking about, we have some that are live-work, where you can live in the top floors, work at the bottom, and have your office connected to a retail corridor. We also have small commercial spaces for businesses that are starting up, where they'll be basically built out, and those businesses can move in right away without having to go through the permit and all the exercise that oftentimes creates stumbling blocks for businesses starting out. And then we have full-scale retail. The piece at the bottom on the south parcel probably will be a restaurant. So, you know, Mike touched on some of the spaces are not designed for restaurants, but we do plan on having like something that's in relation to food service. So we are focused on that. We do want to bring food as well, but we have a specific spot in mind for it. We're super excited to engage with Orange County on the trail and bring a park to that area. That is in process. There is some extra things we need to do to connect the trail to the community. We're looking at creating a way to have a deceleration lane for bicyclists to get on and off here and stop and have a cup of coffee or maybe just relax. So there is no influence to traffic or people on the trail interrupting with anyone. Also, we're planning on leaving the trees, so we're working with the trail, the Orange County, on trying to keep their tree canopy maintained as best we can as we start to work through the park design. So if you have any questions, I'm open.
Okay. Commissioners, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. I'm going to get back around to infrastructure, so be ready for it.
Okay.
Conservation area, is there a conservation area over there at all?
There's some squiggly lines at the very top of this tract. We have already set those wetlands in a tract. Included in that tract is a 25-foot upland buffer. They are not purchasing that land, so there is a wetland and a tract already set aside, so they will be outside of that development.
Okay. And then you mentioned the trees. I like trees. I like oxygen. It's a funny thing, I know. So are you going to minimize the amount of trees you take out, or what's the plan there with the trees over there?
Most of this is planted pines. Part of the, what she's working with Ginger as a representative of the city with the West Orange Trail Initiative, working with the West Orange Trail, is that plant back, planting stuff along the trail on their property line, which would provide a future canopy, which a pine tree will not.
Believe me, I know.
You know, with regards to the trees, we will do our best to save trees that are valuable and, you know, don't impact another piece of the development, or that the development would impact the tree, you know, negatively. Our landscape architect has looked at our tree survey and is trying to work through how we can best make sure to save trees as we're developing.
Okay.
It's hard, but we are conscious about it.
And I understand. I you know, a little something about that space. Now, Mike, I know you mentioned something about the roads and having raised sidewalks going across the roads to help calm traffic, if you will, putting in the roundabout. You know, we're still having challenges with the roundabout over at the high school now, with people trying to navigate that. And then you're putting this development right by the high school, which, you know, have we looked at that? And
Commissioner, remember, we're not dropping this development
okay.
into the area. It was already pre-approved. It was already four-visioned. It's not, and it's actually less trips than the 114,000 this traffic study assumes. So,
yeah, but I'm not even talking about trips. I'm talking about the safety of the drivers that's around it.
Yes.
You know, those young speed demons.
Yes. So, well, we can, I mean, the track for the road, the requirement is there. The land is there. As part of the master transportation plan, the extension of Ocoee Crown Point Parkway is envisioned and coming into place. It will exit onto East Crown Point Road. That extension is going to be first constructed about midway. The intersection improvements, midway in the track will go to the West Orange Tech. After that is done, the development to the south, the McCraney development, in their development order, part of their approval and part of their transportation study, they will finalize that connection from the edge of pavement to where the school board is finishing. That will provide, as in the PD, the extension of Crown Point Parkway, which gives another relief valve. This new public road, which is an additional relief valve, so all the traffic's not going to Fuller's Cross Road, Ocoee Popka, and up to that light at Crown Point Parkway.
Right, because obviously infrastructure is going to be a big topic, because that area, the north end of the city, has a lot of development going in over there, and so people are going to try to have their workarounds getting through some of the newer areas. So I always want to make sure we had that in consideration before all this came out of the ground, and,
Yes.
and we're looking at traffic backed
Yes.
up in a roundabout, which
That's
is
good.
not supposed to happen.
Yes,
but-
and the way it works with the traffic studies, because this PUD is entitled, those trips go in our CMS database, so the projects you've had recently up in the area, these background trips are built in to the end, into that, so. With regard to infrastructure, there's a master stormwater pond, the nice one you see when you're coming up to the roundabout on the right. This property will flow to that pond. The property on the south will flow, the pond that the school board's building for this will take all of the stormwater agreements and in the PD. So all this stormwater will be handled by the school site. The utilities is Orange County. Reclaim, we will work with them. It's our reclaim area to get reclaim there. And then the infrastructure, yes, they are constructing a public road to city standard, and it can't operate like a drive aisle. It's because we're gonna have trips. Luckily, they'll be able to disperse to the south as much as they are gonna disperse through here.
Okay.
All right.
Just one question, if you could give it very concise. I was told that there's a fair amount of gopher tortoises up there. Is that, what's the relocation plan for them in that general area?
So we have done the study for that to see if there's burrows, but we're not ready to break ground yet, so we're a little early in the start of that. They're mostly close to the high school, where the road is designed to be. Like the wetland and ecologist group will help us with getting permits and a relocation plan in order for the tortoises, and they'll verify the count closer to the time.
Okay, thank you.
Just two quick questions. One, when I look at the land use, I see the wetlands, I see the pond, I see the residential retail, I see a tech school, high school, and a nightclub. I'm just curious as to why the nightclub is on there. Is that just something
Is that
that
in the
they just put it
approved
just
uses
as a?
from the original PD?
Yeah. So
That, I don't know.
there is no plan to put a nightclub there. That, I just want to
Not in this plan,
clarify
it's not a list of uses on this plan now.
that. Okay, all right.
We
It's
sure might,
listed here, so I'm like, nightclub, okay.
I wonder-
Which one of these doesn't fit? That's what I'm thinking here.
yes.
So, and my second question is, the P and Z actually had a chance to review this, they just did not get a chance to make their recommendation because of the agenda.
No,
They made-
we could not insert that recommendation due to the staff report, the clerk's stringent staff report criteria. We had the P and Z Tuesday night, staff reports are turned in Tuesday during the
So
workday.
they made a recommendation.
They
just
made a
not here in the
recommendation,
agenda.
yes, of approval,
Okay.
yes. The only discussion we had was this access point, how this southern site's gonna work. As I said, the school board, it's shaded back, is building a new entrance drive into the school. And for this site, the location of this driveway, we need to look at how far off it is and then utilizing some of this space on our tract. And so it's as a way to make the West Orange Tech a possibility, and lose the bus depot type, we had to find another access point for the school, a second one.
What was
because
their recommendation?
it was discussion, how's that gonna work? It's just looking at this preliminary plan, there was discussion that with the distance might probably needs to move down, then you've got a curve, we need to look at that with the school board on their finalized plans, just how that's gonna work, so.
All right. Anybody else in the public have any comments? All right, I'm gonna bring it back to the dais, close the public hearing.
Again, you will see this in a full final site plan, final renderings, and all that.
All right, we hear a motion.
Do we need a motion?
And this is not a reading, it's approval. of preliminary.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Commissioner Brinson made the motion for approval. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any further comments? All right, if not, let's vote. Motion carries. Vote carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to have you aboard. All right. Regular agenda, none. Comments from citizens. I got one, ma'am, you wanted to speak a while ago. I'm gonna let you come up and speak. You bring your little paper with you. You can just give it to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Vivian Light Johnson. I live at 1884 Ibis Bay Court here in Ocoee. And I just wanted to say to the Commission that I am thankful that you've decided to find a way to fund the Day of Remembrance. However, I do agree with Mr. Oliver, and I hope that when you do your budget this time, you will account for the necessity so that when planning begins, they will be able to do their planning just like the other event within a year without having to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I think that that would only be right. So I just wanted to encourage you to do that because I think that it would help give them an opportunity to get funding for their event if they know where they're standing. Because I wasn't here, but I venture to say that the music festival probably started off with the same kind of situation. It takes time to grow an event. So, and Mr. Mayor, I appreciate your allowing me to speak.
Yes, ma'am. Apologize earlier. We had to stop that and get going. Appreciate your comments. Once again, I will make a comment that the board, prior board, worked diligently on that program we had back before, and it was lasted over a year, but they did do that. So the budget has to come before us every year to work on it, then we go through the process with the diversity board, and they put in for what we want to do. So, all right. All right. Anybody else? I knew you'd be. Come on down, Mr. Moore.
Somebody give me a pen that writes every week.
You want to stop writing too?
Yeah.
Just decided, Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure how you knew. My name's Jim Moyer. I live in Arden Park. Just in case someone didn't see it, by the way, I have 3 unrelated items to bring up. Today's Orlando Sentinel. Orlando VA leads nation in active COVID-19 cases. Now, I know me bringing it up sounds like Commissioner Brinson, but I'm not that young or good-looking. But the second, Orlando VA is the 4th largest VA center in the whole entire country. So we're not out of the woods when it comes to COVID. That's my entire point on that. The next thing I wanted to mention was, And this is something the city of Fort Lauderdale does. And I just want to mention, I know we're not as big as the city of Fort Lauderdale, but when they do the invocation for their commission meetings, on a rotating basis, they have different religious leaders do the invocation. And it's a way to get the community leaders, religious leaders involved. Now, the pastor left, but I agree, High Point Church does a tremendous job, but I'm just throwing this out as an idea. The third thing I wanted to bring up is, and I'm kind of passionate about this, I think something other than in addition to a proclamation has to be done for Hispanic Heritage Month, even if it's something similar to what was done for Pearl Harbor, bringing people in from the community, Hispanic leaders, and now I don't know if there's some already being planned. If there is, I'll volunteer to help, or if you're going to plan something, I'll volunteer to help. But I just think we're in Ocoee, La Florida, founded by Spanish people, this state, the whole surrounding areas, we need to do something for Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you for the time. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. All right. All right. 3 minutes.
So I've come to several meetings and had this on my mind, and we've always been busy. The golf course. For those that don't know, we own a golf course. And I came to the workshops that we had 2 years ago, I guess,
Something like that.
with the proposal of to sell the management of the golf course. And my opinion then, and it still is now, that we have all these citizen boards, and sometimes they work, sometimes they're a work in progress. But I think there should be a citizens advisory board for the golf course. The current management of the golf course is not growing the membership. There's no active youth program. The golf course is in terrible condition. And in my opinion, doing research from before, I believe it's clear that the Forest Lake Golf Course management is in violation of the terms of their lease. Their lease specifically has requirements there to meet. They're not meeting. For example, they're required to have a first-class dining facility and restaurant. I play there every Sunday morning with my wife. We tee off at 10:30, and we literally race and push to get done by 2:45 so we can eat, because they close the kitchen at 3. Every other golf course, every other tap room is open for dinner. I have to drive all the way to Winter Park to take my wife to the tap room. It's just, this is supposed to be an amenity for recreation and for families and for children, for the Ocoee citizens, and it's just not cutting it. And I know COVID and things kind of get started and they fall, but I'd like to see some action on that. I'm willing to volunteer, certainly. I've talked to other members, other past club champions, other active members in the community that care and are at the golf course, and we'd like to do something along those lines. I hope you will investigate something like that. Thank you.
I think we should do that. I think we should keep that lease under advisement. So maybe we can work on that, Rob.
City Hall's done and
Huh?
City Hall's done and downtown.
Yes. But, yeah, I think you're right. We'll see. Maybe we can get a committee together to work on that. All right, we're gonna close the public comments and go to Commissioner Oliver.
have someone from IT in the back there to bring something up for me until they can come out, if there's someone back there.
Who are you asking for?
Someone from the IT, I have something on the
Oh.
computer that's actually, it may not be there anymore. Oh, there we go. All right, until she brings that up, as you notice, if you're riding along Clark Road, these days you'll see that they're starting to put the barriers up to start to widen the road. Hold on for a second. To widen the road, and so that project is actually underway. I know it's been a long time coming. We've all been waiting on that to happen, but it is actually starting to happen. It's a process, so just definitely just keep your eyes open. It's my understanding that when they do start that project, it will not change any traffic patterns, nor would it interfere with the current traffic, which we already have some issues with traffic on Clark Road anyway. So it won't make it worse because we're on the right of way. So just keep that in mind, just to let you know that. We also have just a video here from Orlando Streets to talk a little bit about the project that's going along the 429. So I get a lot of those questions. Publix, Walmart. I can walk up and down my sidewalk. I get questions. What's going on by the 429? So that's the main topic I get all the time. So I did run across this video, and I wanted to share this video as to where we are right now with this current project with the Ocoee Village Center. So if you play that video, I just want folks to kind of see what's going on with the Ocoee Village Center.
This larger map will give you an idea of where we are in reference to downtown Orlando and Walt Disney World. The construction site we are flying over is the Ocoee Village Center. On the south side of Ocoee Road, they are building 232 luxury townhomes, a Walmart neighborhood market, a 7-Eleven, Papa John's Pizza, pet supply store, and several other retail stores yet to be announced. The retail stores will be built along Ocoee Road. The luxury townhomes will be built behind retail stores. You can see the streets have already been mapped out, ready to be paved, and the gutters are in place along with the drainage system. Over here, you will see some sidewalks are already in place. And over here in this area will be the Walmart neighborhood market. The Walmart will compete with the Publix supermarket on the other side of the toll road, about a quarter mile away. I have walked through that store, and if you want to see that video, I added the link to the comments below. On the north side of Ocoee Road, they are building 320 luxury apartments, a medical plaza, 2 sit-down restaurants, and more retail stores. The medical plaza, retail stores, and restaurants will be located along the street. They are making great progress on the apartments, which we can expect will rent for between $1,500 and $3,000 per month, depending on the size and number of rooms. This construction project is set to be completed in early 2023. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Orlando Streets have quite a few videos. So if you're ever wondering what's going on, not only just in Ocoee, anywhere throughout Orange County, even West Orange County, you can always go to Orlando Streets and you can see information about these particular projects that's going on all around us. With that being said, I'm just going to transition a little bit to talk a little bit about how we operate here as a commission. And as you see, it reminds me of a quote from Frederick Douglass. He says, "Without struggle, there is no progress." And we go through these struggles. We go through changes. We have difference of opinion, but I believe that everyone up here has, we all have the idea of moving the city forward and trying to get to the same location. So again, if we disagree, then it's okay. But in the end, we all come to a consensus as to how we need to move forward together. So I just want to kind of put that out there. One of the things that I came across is a quote. I actually don't have much tonight, which is kind of unusual for me, right? I can see you smiling behind your mask, Commissioner Wilson. Okay, so just a quote I have here. Actually, it says, so whosoever knows the right things to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. That actually came from James chapter 4, verses 17. But I also had an actual quote behind that. It says, whenever you know the right thing, whenever you know what is right, you must always know the courage it demands. And that author was unknown. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you. I yield back to the Commissioner.
First.
Back to school tax-free holiday is coming up July 25th through August 7th, so take advantage of that. Prepare your children to go back to school with all the supplies that they need, and if you can afford it, it would be nice if you bought a little extra and turned it over to their teachers, who usually fund a lot of that out of their own pocket every year. The Teen Citizen Police Academy is going to be July 25th through the 29th, and it's run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. each one of those days, and it'll be held at the High Point Church, 476 Ocoee Commerce Parkway. It's open to teens 13 through 18 and gives them a chance to see the workings of the police department. They get a little backstage view of what goes on in the police department. It's very interesting. It's a good way for them to spend the rest of their summer. And lastly, I'd like to thank Jamie Cruteau, Rob Frank, and Craig Shadricks for taking the lead on the new City Hall. It is a fantastic building. I got a little preview of it, and it is a job well done. I can't wait until the grand opening so we can invite all of you to come and take a walk through and see. It's going to serve the city very well many years to come. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson.
Okay, I have a couple concerns, but tonight we discussed the budget. So what I'd like to challenge everyone who wanted to have a voice in the budget to know that we have scheduled the budget hearings and the budget workshops. So if you'd mark your calendar for August 9th and 17th and September 15th and the 21st, because we'd love to see you here. I will just throw in that prior to being a commissioner, I was among the few people that would sit in this building to discuss the budget. And I've always felt it's a very important meeting to be at. There are important meetings to be at. And this is a chance to voice your concern. Again, it was brought up tonight about HRDV. Well, the HRDV is going to be using the money that they, on October 1st, the money that's going in the budget for October 1st. So, I mean, when you talk about planning and being proactive, this is an opportunity to be proactive and to have your voices concerned, because this is your budget. This is your money. Just as I said, the City Hall, it's a wonderful building, but it's your City Hall, your tax dollars. So please, come to those meetings. There's another concern, another question I had. I want to thank, the Ocoee Lions Club has done the Christmas parade for, I don't know how many years. Do you know? Okay, I was going to say, I know I'm a member of the Lions Club, but I've never been involved in the parade, but the parade takes a lot of work, and they've done a wonderful job putting it on every year. And due to COVID, there was we had to not put the parade on. And then now I'd like to suggest to the commission that we don't do the parade, that we change what we do, kind of rebranding ourselves. We have a lovely downtown area. We we had great response when the Cinco de Mayo event was done and St. Patrick's Day was done. I think it's a great time for us to make a change, to rebrand ourselves, to focus on the downtown area. Winter Garden, if they do the parade, we can always participate in it. Folks can go to Winter Garden and see the parade. But then coming back to Ocoee, let's do something different ourselves. The parade is a very time-intensive project, and I've heard it from when I've been at meetings with the Lions Club when they put it on. It's very time-intensive, but I'd like to see us do something different, to focus on our downtown, to work with the different businesses that we have, to bring in what we've done, light up Ocoee, and maybe do some changes. Maybe have some groups come in, sing. Maybe have a storyteller read a holiday book. Again, let's bring our community downtown to enjoy what we have downtown. And so I would like to propose to the commission that we focus on that and kind of just not do the parade, but rebrand ourselves into something that we want to do in our downtown area. I'd like to work with them, with the groups, I know it's support services and parks and recreation. And again, just to participate with them in the community about what we want to change in our event this year. I'm asking for support of that.
You want to consent, or you want to?
Well, whatever you think we should do, but I'd like to work with them. I'd like the commission to assign me, but first of all, I'd like to know if the commission is agreeable to this. It's kind of late to run a parade. The parade takes,
I think it's a great idea.
the parade takes a long time to plan. And, again, we had such a great response from those two events. And again, bringing business to our downtown area is very important to us. And also, highlighting our Light Up Ocoee. Is that something the commission would like to do this year? Because I'd like to move forward with that.
I do.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Okay, everyone's, okay.
They all
And
agree.
can you assign, I'd like,
Is it okay if Rosemary takes that job? She's the chairman.
no, don't go that far.
No,
But,
you're it.
I'm it. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. And just so you, Commissioner Oliver, this covers a multiple of sins. And let's see. Start saving your items. The Shred Fest is going to be held again on September 17th from 9 to 11:30. So please start putting your documents away that you want to have securely shredded. We're going to hold it at the police department. The Lions Club and the Ocoee Women's Club are going to go ahead and work with the police department on that Shred to Protect event. So we hope you will start saving all your documents because they are shredded on site, drive-through. We take them from you and we put them right in the truck. So they are shredded. Okay?
What was the date again, Commissioner?
I'm sorry,
What was the date again?
September 17th, from 9 to 11:30 at the police department. And last year, at this past event, we had about 135 cars that came through. I'd like to see that doubled. I'd like to see that truck filled. Please, this is a great opportunity to get rid of your documents that you should not have laying around your house. So, thank you. I'm happy to work with, on the new event downtown.
You gonna deal with the recreation department?
I'm gonna deal with recreation and I believe support services. And, I'd like to work with the community because they may have some ideas
Yeah.
that we could
Well, who
implement.
was it that had the Christmas tree contest where who decorates the Christmas tree? Some city did that.
I don't know, but there's so many things we can do because I went to Amelia Island last year at Christmas and they had a storyteller and very animated and folks just sat there and listened.
some good stuff.
We'll try.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Brennan?
Oh, I've said this before from here, as far as the government to include this commission. I think one of our main functions, if not the main function, is to protect the public. And I think that's important for me to say again, because lately, not just in our city, but in surrounding municipalities, we had gun violence from vehicle to vehicle, people walking. And I think it's important that we pay attention to what's going on around us, understand our surroundings, and then as it's been the mindset of many people for a long time is, if you see something, say something. It is not good for us to not say anything when the first responders are trying to protect the public. So help us help you keep our community safe. Speaking about advisory boards and budget workshops, this is the time where the advisory boards, I'm speaking directly to the advisory boards, this is the time where you need to start paying attention to what you want to do in the next fiscal year, because this is when you ask for your money. When you come before the commission and we're doing our budget workshops, your request must be in. Otherwise, come this time next year, we're having conversations regarding you not having enough money on your board to do whatever function. So it's long-term planning. It's not in the out years, at least 12 to 18 months out. You probably should be looking at whatever functions you're going to be having or that board is going to be trying to put on. So that's important. Rod, I don't think this is too early. I think this is I'm probably a couple of months late. I know the mayor has spoken about this many a times. Are we going to be on board with Christmas lights this year? Because we have a brand spanking new city hall, and I would love those Christmas lights to be bouncing all over the place down there.
You know, that's a good question, Commissioner. We've been trying to tie up loose ends on everything else. So I know we've talked about it, but I can get y'all a briefing on what we're going to have as far as Christmas lights for City Hall. I just don't know the answer to that question.
Not just City Hall. We're talking about Grove Street.
Yeah, we do have, we actually have all the pigtails necessary for Blueford now, too. So, you know, barring anything, I don't know if Steve's still here, but that's one thing I do know that we've checked. So we're going to have lights down Blueford, and I know there's a plan for City Hall, and we can get you that information.
Did you have something?
Well, I was just gonna say, I went over to Winter Garden, looked at their lights downtown, and they have that string that runs down the pole that ties into the bottom where they can hook up lights.
Yeah, that was done recently. They were converted, so
Yeah.
they, you know, we do have power, and
Yeah, power.
so the only other thing would be, you know, I know there are different posts than we have, you know, than we have other places in the city. So we have power. If we can't put the same exact decorations up, we can get something lighted. I know we have power. It'd be just, I just don't want to say for sure we can have the same things we've always had. We can have some type of lighted.
Well, yeah, we don't want the same things we always had. we want
sorry?
we don't want the same things we always had. We want a new city hall. We want new things. I'm special that way.
We'll go through architectural review committee.
Hey, there
and
you
get
go,
something
see?
really nice done.
Yeah, we know who that is.
Yeah. But again, I'm going to implore you, if you sit on the advisory board, to put in your budget requests. Next thing, I'm going to say safety, safety, safety again. It's still summertime, but right now we have a lot of folks dropping out because of heat exhaustion, heat stroke, dehydration. Water is your friend. Water is your friend. Be careful on the roads. There's a lot of things happening in our fair city. Obviously, our city hall is pretty much, you know, on the outside is complete for the most part. That's your tax dollars at work. However, that construction also means that there's road closures or there's narrowing of roads. So be mindful of that. And also, you know, don't be like I do when I drive through a new community and it's building homes, and then I come out on the other side and I have nails and screws in my tires. So you're laughing, but be mindful of that. 9 o'clock routine. The 9 p.m. routine is real as well. We've had some incidents where people are jiggling car door handles or going into unopened, unlocked, unsecured doors at night, whether people are home or not. Some people are very bold that way. The 9 o'clock routine, if you don't know what it is, lock your car doors, all the doors to your home. If you live on you have windows on the ground floor, secure them best you can to keep those unwanted guests out of your house. Pastor Tower left, but I wanted to give him some kudos. Over the last few years, we talked about how High Point Church has assisted the city in many aspects. One of the things that was high on High Point's church list was Blue Jay Way. For those who don't know where that is, that's over by the elementary school. Some call it the pig trail. And they were instrumental in keeping that clean every year for the students when they're going back to school. The staff here in the city of Ocoee has gotten that path paved, so down Blue Jay Way, it does have a sidewalk in it, and we have to, maintain it, but I want to give kudos to High Point Church because of that. But hopefully, we won't have to keep going down that road. Again, your tax dollars are hard at work. They're hard at work. But be mindful of what road you're going down, because I rode down the road the other day, and there was a sign that said dead end, but it was halfway down the street. So I got down there to do a U-turn. So be mindful of that. And the last thing I got is something that's so very, 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 very important. You may not have a lot of voices. You may not come here to engage in some of the, calm, cool, and collected conversations we have here on the dais, but you can vote. And voting is coming up. The primary is next month, and then later this year, we have the general. Consider who you're going to vote for, then get out there and vote. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. I truly hope people go vote this year. We need everybody to vote. City Hall will be closed at 2 p.m. on Friday, July the 29th to relocate into the new City Hall. Normal hours of operation will resume on Monday, August the 1st. The next City Commission meeting scheduled for August the 2nd is canceled due to relocating into the new City Hall. The next City Commission meeting scheduled for August the 16th will be at the new City Hall located at 1 North Blueford Avenue. The August 9th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting has been rescheduled to Tuesday, August the 30th. The budget workshop dates are scheduled for Tuesday, August the 9th, and Wednesday, August the 17th. The budget hearing dates are scheduled for Thursday, September the 15th, and Wednesday, September the 21st. Speaking of the budgets, one of the things we talked about putting in for different kind of things to do, $100,000, one of the things I want to do is make sure that neighborhoods, sidewalks are fixed where people can walk without falling down or tripping. You're here. I want to take the money and spend it on the things like that we need to do for our citizens, where they can be safe when they're out walking. Grandmama can walk down the street without falling, or you can push a wheelchair, which I seen the other day. They had to go around it almost into the street where they could go on the sidewalk. The other thing is paving neighborhoods in the order of how old they are that haven't been touched. And up on the hill, there's a lot of them that haven't gotten paved. And I know I've talked to Rob about it for the budget. That's where the budget money's got to go. We need to work towards making these neighborhoods safe, where people and the children riding their bicycles, where the people walking can be safe. That's one of the things I want to make sure we do. We have extra money, we need to put it towards that. We can raise money to put on festivals and stuff, which is an easier way to do it. Put the money back into the city, the taxpayers. And one of the other things is, our tax rate has gone up, not the cities, but the county and everybody else. So as you look at your tax bill, remember, we've lowered it for the last 7 years, and we're gonna try to, I hope, we're gonna lower it again this year. So always remember that this city, our staff is excellent at finding the money to make sure we survive in our city and make sure people get to do things and have a great city. We have a great city here. The other thing is, and I know Steve Cook's probably going on, but he has got to get that school sign up at the Montessori where they can walk across that Lakewood Avenue.
I'll check on that.
That is a dangerous place for the kids. So that is a major thing there. The other thing is, on that project you were showing a while ago, that road was supposed to open up in June for Lakewood, so we need to send out a notification again, let people know that thing's not gonna be open for a while, because they have to do that roundabout at Fuller's Crossroad in Lakewood, which hasn't been done. So that's another project we have got to make sure we do. The other thing is making sure speeders, we're back with the safety thing. I sit at the restaurant up on the hill at Carlos's on Worst Road, and I watch them come by there. They're doing 60 to 70 miles an hour. I mean, somewhere or another, if we have to put a big wall up in the middle or something, we need to slow them down, because they will not, and there's a Spring Lake Elementary School is there. So we have got to do something with that, and I don't know where the police is at tonight, but somebody needs to talk to the chief about the constant speeding on Worst Road.
Yeah, I meet with them every other week, Mayor, with the chief. That's something is always on my list. I make sure they're doing numerous times each day. I hear it on just about every major east, west, and north-south road. So they know it's something that I care about very much. Even on 50, I mean, I come in the morning and they're blowing by me at 70 miles an hour too. And so I bring it up every time I sit down with them. I'll make sure they're still devoting a lot of time to that. It's the first thing on my list every time I sit down and discuss what's going on with them.
It's just, it's getting, even Adair Street, because it's a cut through, they're doing the same thing on Adair Street, cutting through to go down to Clear Corner Road.
Yeah.
The other thing, and Mr. Kennedy brought it up, is the golf course. Of course, I was there when we dug the footers to start that place. It is an asset for the city. It is part of our recreational facilities, the fact that we turn into the state.
Yeah. Mayor, we did have that discussion probably about 2 years ago. We understood they weren't doing some of the things that were in the contract. I guess we've had a protracted negotiation for a couple of years now as far as, considering buying out the golf course, so we didn't make too much of an issue. It looks like after about 2 years, they're pretty adamant of what they want, which is significantly more than the business appraisal that we had. Being that we own the underlying property, we couldn't do a regular appraisal, so we did an appraisal of the business. And we think it's fair, significantly less than they want for it. We continue to talk every once in a while. It looks like the price has not changed, and we can't in good faith recommend it to the city commission to pay 50, 60% more than our valuation on it.
So I don't want to do that. I don't really want to see a lot of development out there. I can see it up right at driving range, but nowhere else. I don't want to see it developed into homes. It's a beautiful course. It's designed great. And we have a lot of the versatile people playing out there. If you go out there on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you will see it is packed. It's packed during the week. And he's also right about junior golf for our young people. It's an excellent place to put them out there and let them play. I went over to Merritt Isle, Cocoa Beach has their own golf course. I went to it. They must have had 100 kids and 100 women there playing in the golf thing, taking lessons and playing golf. It's run by the city. So that's the only thing I want to see us get to. We need to make them stick to the lease, or the leases that I hear to. That's why I'm asking, so we can get it to where we can do the things we need to do there. Because it is a great layout if you go there. And it's, the other thing is the street lights, making sure they look at our lights when they ride around at night, and making sure they're.
Yeah, it's another one we ask the PD to do because they're out there all night long. I'll reaffirm that with the chief too.
I got one more thing. I know everybody's having problems with their yard waste. We're working on that. I've talked to the city manager a few times. We're working on a way to come up and during the budget time, we can figure out a way that we can do something with the yard waste, because it is hard for people. You can ride around our town and I can take you and see piles of trash, trees and limbs and bushes piled up on the side of the road that don't get picked up. So there's some rules and regulations, but they don't seem to go with the rules and regulations. Not the people, but yard picker-uppers. So we're gonna work on that, and I hope during the budget process, we can come up with a good answer to that problem.
I'm having good luck with this, Mr. Patterson,
Huh?
the fellow from the waste company,
Yeah.
is trying.
Yeah, they went around today and the oil came out of the trucks and they were back out throwing kitty litter and all that stuff, trying to get it fixed, so that's good, but they still gotta figure out how. If you go up on the hill, and I call it the hill above Silver Star Road, you will see a lot of yard, waste out on the thing, so let's work on getting that done during the budget.
Were we considering purchasing a plow truck? I know that was one of the things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had talked a couple different options, and we'll bring it up during the workshop too. I think something that, although we are in a negative situation as far as solid waste right now, what we collect and what we're paying out, we're trying to stop the bleeding there. But we're thinking if we can get another claw truck with an employee to take care of the issues. Right now, you know, we have to call a third party, and they go out there, and then we get in, you know, they say, well, it's more than 4 yards, it's less than 4 yards. We can just send a truck out, and we can pick it up, and maybe have a roll-off at Public Works where we can dump it in, have them pick it up every week or something. Well, I think something like that, where we just have another option where we could send a city employee out in a city vehicle and just dump it in a roll-off, and they have to pick it up. I think that would probably work for a lot of the complaints that we've been hearing over the last year or so.
I got home yesterday afternoon in my neighborhood, there was a 30-foot oak tree blew over. It was right up against the house, but luckily it blew towards the garage, and it tore off the whole back front side of the garage. But every neighbor in that neighborhood was out there working on cutting that tree up and getting it, but it filled her yard up and her driveway. So that's the kind of stuff we need to help, because they're gonna have some problems there with their getting it fixed and everything else. So that's what I wanna look at. We wanna make sure our job, and whether we're up here discussing and saying things to each other, it all comes down to we all gotta work together, we all gotta do the job. And when you get through voting, you gotta move on and get ready to do what's next for the city. That's what we wanna do. Everybody have a good evening. We'll see you, August the 16th. Good evening.